Hey, it's Eugene Driscoll of valleyindy.org. This is a quick intro to a clip from last Thursday's, that would be June 10th, meeting of the Derby Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen. There was a letter in the agenda packet, that's the documents that each elected official gets before the Alderman meeting. There was a letter dated June 3rd from a Kimberly Kennison. She's an executive financial officer with the state's Office of Policy and Management, saying that the city of Derby hasn't completed a financial audit on time in at least 4 years, which, according to the letter, is an example of poor fiscal management. So here is Alderwoman Barbara DeGennaro asking Mayor Zekin and Chief of Staff Andrew Backlick about the issue.
Okay, we're going to move on. Department heads, Finance Director. Finance Director is not here tonight. So if there are any questions on his report?
Mr. Mayor, it's Barbara. I don't have a question for Mr. Taylor, but I reviewed what was in our packet, and I was quite concerned about the OPM notice that came dated June 3rd, saying that the last 3 audits have been over 100 days late. So
Absolutely.
I just...
No, absolutely. Bring up Patty again, but I'll defer this over to Chief of Staff. He has some update for you.
Sure. Sorry. So we've been voluntarily participating in meetings with OPM and their Municipal Finance Review Committee for about 2 years. And the letter, the correspondence that you saw, was sent to the mayor, and to the town clerk, and to David. Our last meeting with them, I believe it's referenced in there, was May 5th. At the end of that meeting, the woman who wrote the letter was very complimentary toward not only David, but just the city financial operation as a whole and how far we've come over the last year and a half. So those letters are kind of routine that we get from them after those meetings, and all the things that are on there are already in process. And as is laid out and asked by the committee through the letter, written responses will be provided. And then we're scheduled to meet with them again later this month in June. They're very pleased at our appointment of a new permanent finance director and kind of moving into a different echelon with our compensation of that role and kind of devoting some more staff to the audit. So they put those kinds of things in writing to us over the last 2 years, but we've been in regular contact, and we are in relatively good shape as far as I can tell you from participating in those meetings.
But can somebody answer me why wasn't it? Doesn't even the June 30th 2020 audit, that wasn't done. The other ones, why wasn't it? I can't recall. I know Sarah has asked some questions, but is it not done? The 2020 one, is it not done? Is that the answer?
Yes, it's not done, and we have until June 30th to do it, and they will review it with us at that next state meeting. But the auditor should have everything he needs in his hands in the next day or two, from what I'm being told from David Taylor. There was some recon on some of, I don't want to say the parking, don't quote me on the accounts, but I want to say like the parking garage account. There was some back recon that needed to be done in order for the auditor to be able to finish up. So we have no choice. The final deadline is certainly the end of the month, but we are obviously way behind. And that's the way it's been, unfortunately, for the last few years. So I can tell you that Agata, though she hasn't started yet, has already been talking about working on this upcoming year's audit, which David has already been working on, so that she can hit the ground running, and there's really no excuse for us not to be on time, like December on time, for the first time in a lot of years. So we're looking forward to that next.
Yeah, well, maybe one of the things will be you need a new auditor with somebody with fresh eyes, which, I'll defer to the new finance director, because that will be something I'm sure she'll take right away. And,
That's true too. But Barbara, you remember Patty Finn passed away, and a lot of that was on her plate. And we were lucky that she had a lot of that stuff in her computer. And then we had a interim finance director in there, and David picked up a lot of stuff, but we were still, behind the 8 ball on a lot of things. So I hate to keep bringing her up, but I mean, we're close to the finish line.
Yeah,
on
I
that.
wish you wouldn't bring her up. Honestly, I wish you wouldn't bring her up, but because
I wouldn't
that.
either, but I wish you guys would stop bringing this up too, because we are right there, like Drew just said. So, you know, God bless her, and just thank God she put a lot of that stuff in that computer for us. But that
doesn't help us with the previous years that it was still late. So over 100 days, 222 days. I mean, that's almost a year. But you know, I mean, that's crazy. But you know, it just stuck out to me. So
to address
I have something to say. No disrespect to anyone, but we had dual. I mean, we had a finance director interim, and we also had someone with historical knowledge, and we've paid double for all that information, and it's gotten later than it's ever been. So that's disheartening for us.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Relates to the
and
this
does go back further than 3 years, so let's stop.
No,
we're getting there.
Don't go there. Don't go there, because I have something to say. That conversation going.
I just have a question on the corrective action plan. I was able to call into that latest meeting on May 5th. And it was quite interesting to listen to. But I was very happy with their recommendations for the layout of a corrective action plan, which I think is exactly what the layout that we were asking for at previous board meetings. I don't see that in my packet. I know you said stuff was in progress. So do we know if this layout of the corrective action plan that they recommended at the beginning of May do they have a format set up? Is that a structure that's in place now?
Yes.
Like I said, David.
That in writing for you guys by the 21st, the way that he has to have it to the state, I'll have him share it with you directly as well.
Okay.
But to be clear on that point too, Sarah, that like item number 1, we already have that fund set up with the medical reserves that they mentioned. So it's obviously they're not seeing our audit from last year, so they don't see that. But we did that. We took that step last year. And also just to address what Barbara said about the auditor, I think Audits has already addressed that she would like to look at that next year for sure, but it doesn't make sense to make that change right at this moment. So she would like to work at one more year and then have an RFP to go out and potentially entertain a new auditor at the next point, and certainly give these gentlemen and folks the chance to bid on that as well again. But agreed.
Any other questions? All right, move over to the police department. I know the chief is not here.